All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it. Move, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
Recording.
Yep.
All right. Welcome to week 6. Armani suits and run. Um, let's see. Last week, 3-2 week. So good to get back on the winning side of things. First time actually this season.
Yeah.
We had a plus week because we had 2 weeks where we went 2-3. That was in week 1 and week 3, and then in weeks 2 and week 4 we went 1-4. So good to be on the plus side. Didn't start off so hot. We had the guest pick from 40. That was Jets plus 2.5. Did not cover there. The Jets subsequently fired their coach, demoted their offensive coordinator and play caller. So started off 0-1 there. Still love you, 40. And then in terms of the individual picks, so I was on the Packers minus 3.5. They covered. Little dicey at the end there. Little dicey. Thought we might see a backdoor, but we got the cover.
Yep.
Kieran, you were on the Jags minus 2.5. Got that one there. Was that the Jags' first one of the season?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were the last.
Yeah, that might have been
team.
part of it too, where I think part of my analysis was that the slide just had to stop eventually. I think I was maybe I don't think I took them 2 weeks in a row, but I believe I had them on my card for at least the last 2 or 3 weeks because I just felt like
Yeah,
they're not great, but I think that they're better than they've shown.
you had
Yep.
them you had them. I'm seeing them on week 3. You and I took them in that primetime game against
That's
them,
right. That's right.
which obviously didn't go well. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of been talking about it for a while, right? It's like the slide they were on, it was, it's how many times in a row is black really going to hit? Like at some point it's got to be red.
Yeah, like you got to be really bad to only
Yeah.
win,
That's
0 to 3 games in the NFL. And yeah, like I said, I just felt like they were a little bit better. And yeah, last week too, part of it was, and maybe I'll have to look more into this when he's facing these types of coverages. But what was it? It was like when Trevor Lawrence faces like cover 2 defense, he's like a better quarterback
Yeah.
or something like that, and they were playing a primarily cover 2 defense, something like that. So that was a big part of it too. It was definitely a good matchup. Maybe that's something I try and track specifically for the Jags this year, but I'll have to see. I don't know. I think PFF might be a good spot to find those.
Yeah. Yep. So it was a good win there. And then Bowen slide continues.
I feel like it's almost on that same idea of the roulette. How many times can black hit in a row? I'm feeling down. I tried to be positive last week. Hope the positivity would swing things in my favor or just help. Did not. The Bills stink. Sean McDermott should be fired. Actually, it's crazy
Taliban enthusiast Sean McDermott.
It's crazy that a DeMar Hamlin in the divisional game, a DeMar Hamlin fake run, or a fake punt run on like 4th and 3 on like their own 20-yard line wasn't even like the worst thing Sean McDermott's done in the past like calendar like year. Like he just like that. I mean, the way they just really fumbled that opportunity to go to overtime when they kind of had CJ on the ropes a little bit and that Texans offense who just bailed them out on the possession before, where they had that intentional grounding that pushed them out of field goal range to even give the Bills the opportunity to steal it almost and go to overtime. Like they probably, Kaimi Fairbairn, I think I think he's still a pretty good kicker in the league. Like all these guys have been bombing it from like 50 plus yards pretty easily. So we got bailed out with 40 seconds left to 30 seconds left to begin with. Sean McDermott is a terrorist. He deserves nothing good, and hopefully nothing really bad happens to him or someone he loves soon. That's all I'll say. Disgusting game.
Are you 0 for Zach? Are you 0 for 5?
Oh, I'm over 5. I haven't even smelled.
Like,
I don't even know if I've won. Have I even won a game outright that I picked?
So
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe did the Lions win but just didn't cover one time?
no, I think they hold
Did they
on.
lose outright? That did I pick them like week
Take
one?
the Lions against like the Bucks, maybe.
I think it was week one.
No, you took the Lions week 2 against the Bucks and they lost.
Jesus Christ!
Well, because I was looking, right? Because we do that pool. So Tristan, Zach, and I, we do a pool with our friends that is basically a Circa format where we each pick 5 spreads a week. And I'm pretty sure you're in first place.
I'm like 2 games above everybody. I'm like 13.
Picking at like, at 60%,
13-7
maybe
or something
slightly
like
better
that.
than that.
Yeah, it's
Wait, so you pick every game against the spread?
just 5.
Yeah,
Wait,
we
let me
submit
go
our
to
own
my.
5 in
Hold
a
on.
pool.
When do you put those picks in?
I put them in like pretty much same days. I put it like every Thursday. I don't usually pick the Thursday night game.
So where's the disconnect?
I literally think it's just like I don't know, bro. What am I on the year?
Zach is
I am
15, 8, and 2, which is
15,
good
8,
for
and 2. I'm nice.
64%.
Are
I'm
you
in second
fading?
place at 60%.
Are you fading that pool?
I am doing
Armani
nothing
suits
on
and red?
purpose. I promise that. I promise I'm doing nothing on purpose. I think most of my losses have to be from like my Circa picks in that pool league. Like majority of my losses. I can't imagine myself. Maybe there was one week where I didn't pick my Circa pick for if I wasn't paying attention, but like I think probably at least 4 out of the 5 weeks I've taken my Circa pick. I can't even imagine a time where I wouldn't. So troubling stuff. Anyways.
I would really love to be taken inside the process where you make your 5 picks and then you come on this call because man.
I think what I do, I think it's a classic case of overthinking it. With like the one pick that I have on this, as compared to I go into that, it's like a $25 pool with like 7 dudes. And it's just like a thing that we've been doing for the last like 6-7 years, but it's never like too serious. So I just kind of like freely, my brain is free. It just kind of picks whatever I see looks good on like a Thursday in like 5 minutes, and just happens. So ugly. I actually didn't really think about that.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. The odds of that happening is like pretty unbelievable. But
wow.
water will find its level.
I'm checking now.
What'd you say?
I'm just checking now, seeing if he's playing all his picks.
I have to. I think I have.
You're like doing the full analysis.
It's like if you're in like
I gotta say,
leagues and you just like, kind of like spread the board of who you own in each league, and you like kind of own everybody. It's just like I kind of just pick every game.
So there's been 5 weeks.
Please let it be a good number. This is gonna sound terrible if it's not.
Zach has used the Circa pick in his top 5 twice.
No way.
Jesus.
That's crazy. I think I need to put more thought or less thought into my Circa. All right, this is terrible.
We might have a.
This is terrible. This is terrible.
I do agree with that. I mean, just because you didn't use it in our cheaper pool, I don't think that means that you're not like buying into that pick or anything. But I do think whatever mentality you're putting into these chose wisely picks, you just got to tap into that. That's all it is.
I think it is.
Maybe subconsciously you're flushing out the bad pick, and that's all it is. And
wow, man.
But it is easier when you're sprinkling 5 picks on the board because it's like,
that's so funny.
Sprinkling 5, you're more likely to hit 1 than if you're only hitting, 1 pick. So I mean, it is definitely not the same in Zach's defense, but yeah, I mean, whatever it's going in, whatever you're seeing, you're looking at that board. Maybe you should do those picks first. I don't know if that's what you said you did or not, but yeah, maybe you just got to submit those picks first and then
pick one.
I mean, for example, I did those picks like 3 hours ago.
All right, so let's start there. Start there. Why don't you share your screen?
He's about to go 4-1. That's what. No, don't share the screen. I don't want to see notes. I don't want to.
I want to see the picks.
No spoilers. No spoilers. I don't like seeing behind the scenes.
I'll share my picks after we pick if we still think about it at the
Uh,
time.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you weren't in it with him, Kieran, I'd say like let's take a look. Let's go through his picks together and let's pick a pick together. Let's just.
No. He's gonna get out of this himself.
I
Yeah,
know.
I will
we
say
can't dirty it with our hands at
all
all.
three, all top three of my picks, or the
Uh,
potential picks for this Circa that I have lined up, I have on this right now currently. On my 5 picks in this other pick 'em.
all right.
Whatever that means. I don't know. Whatever that means.
Oh my God.
That's terrible. I really didn't even think about it.
All right, and then all right, so moving on. So the Sunday night football game, we spun the wheel. There were two primetime games that we were gonna choose between. We landed on the Cowboys and Steelers, so we picked against that game. Myself and Bowen were on the Cowboys, so Bowen, you got that one.
Yeah.
Cowboys plus 2.5. Kieran was on the Steelers minus 2.5. I mean, weird game. It was like, what was it? Delayed like an hour and a half. I think I went to bed like a little after halftime, and I woke up and the TV was still on, and the game was still on, and Dak and the Cowboys were just starting to drive down the field. So I did manage to wake up in time to see the final touchdown for them to cover, which was nice. And then I went back to bed and slept for a good few hours. But that put us to 3-2. So again, positive week. Good to get one of those. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a little run. Get a little momentum and go from here. So, do we want to just get into the wheel?
Yeah.
Well, we have a London game, don't we?
Do we have a 40 pick?
No, I brought it up because I don't have a 40 video. Hold on, let me. All right, you guys see it?
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. All right.
Hold on. Okay, now it's going on. This is tough. Let's try this.
Armani suits, Circa Million, 40, the foreign correspondent, back to pick our game across the pond. Quick reflect on last week. I gave out the Jets. My bad. It's a bad start for me and my guest picks across the pond. They look so bad that their coach was fired the minute they got back to the States. So we're going to put that behind us. I did give the Jets 5 big booms. I think those booms went straight to AJ and Big Justice because those boys were on the hardwood at Madison Square Garden. So shout out the Rizzler. Let's look at this week. Jags at Bears. Bears minus 2. If you guys remember, my first ever guest pick on this program was about a year ago. Jags, Bills in London. I gave out the Jags as dogs. That was a winner. It was a big winner. The Chicago Bears are home game merchants. They get all their dubs in Chicago at home, nice and cozy. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, 3-1 in London. This is basically a home game for them. They escaped the hurricane. They're across the pond. They finna wet Caleb and the Bears. Give me the Jags plus 2. Love the Jags. That's 40, the foreign correspondent. Check it out.
I love the foreign correspondent. That's great.
We've never had one before. It's our first time. It's
That's
huge.
Terrific title.
Well, so when he made the point about the Jets and their coach getting fired as soon as they got home, I was kind of hoping that he'd pick the Jags because Doug Peterson is on the hot seat. So that could be something to look out for, is that if they were to go over to London, they were to get absolutely embarrassed. Could Ford be some sort of mush? Could he be, like the boogeyman, the merchant of death when it comes to some of these head coaches? I do think that's a big storyline to watch.
Oh, that's great. All right, so we got the Jags plus 2.
I actually like the pick a lot. They have been there for 2 weeks now, or will be when it's game time. They stayed over there. So I feel like that's always a huge advantage. That is a true home field advantage because the Bears probably are getting there Wednesday or so, I would think, for the Sunday game, Thursday maybe. So I actually a bit terrified of Doug Peterson and that coaching kind of dynamic, Kieran, that you just kind of pointed out. That's a bit scary for 40 just to become like the coach killer, like a little Grim Reaper door to door meme. That's a little frightening, but I do like the spot for the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that has the Bears are a team with a rookie quarterback. They're going to London. That's not something that a lot of NFL players are naturally accustomed to begin with. And, I kind of like fading rookies when it comes to, maybe their first Thursday night game, their first time playing on short rest. In this instance, it's their first time with some sort of travel like that. They just don't really have that comfort level in the NFL right now when it comes to their routine. They're still figuring out their routine for home games and stuff, So, I think the fact that they're going over, and this is a team that relies on a young rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams, I could see the Jags, with their experience being in London, everything like that, I could see that being a factor here. So, yeah, I like the Jags as well. And it's kind of the same thing 40 was saying. Jags in London, underdogs. It just feels like it's worth taking them.
Kieran, you brought it up about Caleb being a rookie quarterback starting in a London game. I'll give you the stat on it. He's sixth rookie QB to start in an international series game. First in Zach Wilson in 2021 against the Falcons for the Jets. Those 5 QBs before him, 0-5 straight up and against the spread, with 4 of the 5 QBs losing by 14 plus points.
Well,
So, yeah, I like the pick. I have no problems with the pick. Respect the pick. Jags +2.
I was gonna say, I thought that stat sounded familiar. I actually had that in the house call sheet. I was like, I was like, was there a game with a rookie quarterback in London last week or something? I was like, why have I heard that stat? Yeah, I was just pulling that up. I will say, I do actually, I think I'll be making a similar play to what I just did for Brock Purdy. I might be doing something similar with Caleb Williams on Sunday. I do think he's going to be throwing a lot. So I have him 250 plus yards.
But he'll be doing it. He'll be doing
touchdowns.
it in a loss.
Yeah, I mean, guys can still put up stats and losses.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm just putting a finer point on that. All right, want to go to the wheel?
Yeah. Feels fitting.
It
Yeah.
does. It really does.
Does. I'm going with the Lions, -3. Going against the Cowboys, at Jerry World. We were on the Cowboys last week. I think we both, or Tristan and I both touched on it. Steelers as the favorite kind of felt a little weird. Kind of felt like a weird game with the line set how it was. Think it was a good spot for that Cowboys team to sneak in a win there, but I do think those injuries catch up with them this week. DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is still week to week. DeMarcus Lawrence is on the IR. Michael Parsons has not been practicing this week. He's just been like stretching on the side, doing his own drills on the side, very limited, even in those drills. So he does not look like he's going to be going. They may have Deron Bland back in a like limited fashion. He's coming off a injury, so we don't know what his, if he's going to be on a snap count or if he's going to be a quick pull if the game gets a little too out of it or whatever the case be. And I just think it's a great spot for the Lions coming off the bye week. 3 points is very reasonable against that really, really poor what was poor even with their best players rush defense for the Cowboys. They give up around 150 on the ground every game. Obviously Monty Gibbs don't need to be spoken about too much. We know what they're capable of as a duo. I think the game gets out of hand before it really gets going. In that 4:30 NFL game of the week spot. So Jared Goff 26-9 against the spread. Tristan, I think that you've said that stat before. 26-9 against the spread. Last 37 games or 35. What is it? Sorry, 26-9, 35. 35 games in a dome. Playing in Jerry World. He's still going to be playing in the dome. I think they expose a very, very banged up Cowboys defense and come off the bye hot.
I actually had this game on my card. It was number 3, but I was actually on the Cowboys.
I knew
Um,
that.
I actually, for what it's worth, there like I was kind of scratching and clawing to find a third game, so I wasn't really too in love with any sides like on this card. But yeah, I just kind of saw it. I don't know what the Lions' record is off the bye with Dan Campbell or anything. I just feel like they're a team that's better when they're kind of in the thick of it and they're on that grind. They're almost like LeGarrette Blount, one of those running backs that they get better with more and more reps, everything like that. But yeah, I just felt like that it could be a potential sleepwalk spot for the Lions. The Cowboys are coming off like a pretty motivational win on the road. Now they're back at home. I just like kind of taking them as dogs. But I mean, I do think it's going to be a toss up. I think it's a 50-50 game.
Um, it's a game in Dallas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So according to Action Network, Tom Brady will be on the call.
Like his
Road
fourth
team,
Cowboys game.
road teams are 4-1 straight up and against the spread. With Brady in the booth. Underdogs are 4-1 straight up against the spread with Brady in the booth. So I think those things actually they might cancel each other out, right? Because the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at this game and I was like, I don't think I can have it on my card because I feel like I can make a really good case for both teams. I think it's just a hard one to pick. And then I was just kind of like, this to me is one of those games I would rather just kind of watch it and enjoy it and not have to sweat it. But now, thanks to Bowen, who's on the Lions -3.5, I'm going to have to sweat it.
Three. It's three, right?
Yeah, I think it's 3.
-3, yeah. But yeah, go Lions.
Hell yeah.
All right, back to it.
Let's get back to it.
Tristan.
All right. I'm going Commanders. +6.5 against the Ravens. I'm just a Commanders fan right now. Daniels is my guy. Enjoying the run right now, holding that MVP ticket. I love the way they look. Offense has been extremely efficient. That's obviously been the story, especially with Daniels. They're getting it done on the ground and through the air. He's not really making any mistakes. I mean, even that pick he threw last week. It was actually a hell of a play by that defender. Just in terms of the window that Daniels was throwing it through. So I like the way that offense looks. Lamar 18-21 against the spread as a favorite in the last 4 seasons, including 7-18 ATS when more than 3 points. Favored by more than 3 points. Spread obviously 6.5. And that Ravens defense can be scored on. I mean, they gave up 27 to Kansas City, 26 to the Raiders. Cowboys had 25 and that, huge comeback. Obviously Ravens held on for the win there, but the Bills were a bit of an outlier in prime time. The Ravens rolled in that one, but they just gave up 38 to Burrow and the Bengals last week. And since he had a shot to win that game, I thought the Ravens very lucky to escape. But I think Washington's playing with confidence. They've got enough firepower on offense that they should be able to keep pace, stay within the number. And obviously a Daniels win here over a reigning MVP, on the road. That'd be huge for his MVP case. So I'm with my Commanders.
Yeah, Tristan, it's funny. This game was actually my game, like yours, with the Lions Cowboys that you just wanted to didn't want to have a side on, didn't want to it's just that numbers tough. I'm glad to be getting the points there. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm very very intrigued. Can't wait for the game. It's gonna be king of the 1 o'clock slate for sure. That is going to have all the eyes on it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I like the pick, like getting the points. Love Jaden Daniels, like the pick a lot.
Yeah, I think it'll be a real test for the Commanders. I feel like we haven't really seen Jaden Daniels have like a true bad game. Last week was kind of his first game where he wasn't, as accurate as he has been in the first few weeks. So yeah, I think that this is going to be a real true test. I mean, part of the reason I just kind of passed on it in general is because of Zach kind of touched on it, but there's just going to be so many eyeballs on this game. So I feel like it's always tough to kind of pick those games. But yeah, I mean, in this type of spot, I mean, I do like getting that many points. And if Jaden Daniels is legit, then that would be, could potentially be a steal on that type of spread. So, I like it there.
All right.
I guess my only thing, I don't know what his against the spread record is, but I know Lamar Jackson like does not lose to NFC teams. So that I guess that would be my only knock on it. But I don't know how he is against the spread in those spots.
Yes. Hold on, I can tell you.
He's like, yeah, he's wicked good
I think
against.
it's like one loss.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but I think there is a disparity between the straight up
Yeah,
and
I think he might be like, maybe slightly profitable with the spread, but like it's not the same type
yeah,
of
he's
dominance.
so Lamar Jackson has faced an NFC team 22 times in his career. This is according to Action Network. He is 21-1 straight up, 11-11 against the
wow.
spread in those
Yeah.
games.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah.
All right. I'm taking my boy. I'm going Will Levis and the Titans
Did I
minus
fucking?
two and a
I
half.
almost texted you before. I said, "Are you picking the Titans?" They were on my board. They were on my board, but I figured you already had it wrapped up.
Yeah, I mean, I like him coming off the bye here. I do think that that's a team that could greatly benefit from the bye. I think it came at a good time for them, especially with Will Levis dealing with the AC joint sprain. But I mean, I think part of what speaks to my confidence in Levis is the fact that right away they were like, no, as long as he's good to go, we're going right back to it. And Mason Rudolph got a lot of credit for having like 80 passing yards. That was a lot of defensive dominance. That was a lot of dominance on the run, from the run game with the two-headed attack that they have with Spears and Pollard. And I think that those are two things that they can lean on. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago because that was going into the Tennessee Miami game. And part of what I was saying is I gave a little defensive Will Levis is that like overall, like 90% of the time, he's actually playing decent at quarterback. It's just that the 10% of the time that he's not, he's making some of the most boneheaded, unbelievable turnover plays that you could possibly imagine. Some plays you like really can't even imagine. So it's like, I mean, I do think that there are just some things that need like a little sanding on the edges and things like that. And if you can learn to just take that sack or just throw that ball away, I think that doing that can just go a long way for a quarterback with the skill set that he has. I think that coming off it, I do think that eventually they're going to play maybe a little bit of a more watered down, a more neutered version, like they were playing in the preseason, where they were playing really well, and it was just getting him open looks, 5 to 10 yard routes, really leaning on that backfield. And I think that this defense is really good. I've said that a few times, a few weeks already this season. So I think that they're coming out. It sounds optimistic that Anthony Richardson's going to play. I do think that that's a negative for the Colts, but
Yep.
they're talking about Michael Pittman. He's going to be missing a couple weeks. Josh Downs hasn't been practicing. I do think that Jonathan Taylor, they're optimistic. He hasn't been practicing himself though. So they're dealing with some injuries as well. But I just don't think that this Colts team is very good. I do think that this Titans team is better than they've played, and I do think that winning, going into the bye, being able to rest up, and then come out prepared against a division rival, I think will be very big for them. So I think them at home getting inside of a field goal is very good.
Yeah, I looked at I mean I thought about the Titans in this one. I don't think I had the stones to take it, but or put it on my card, but I do think I like your point. Like, if Richardson's playing, I think that actually plays in our favor. They're pretty, as you listed, like they're pretty banged up, and then you've got the Titans coming off a bye, opportunity to get healthy, work some things out. So I think it's a good spot, take the Titans, catch the Colts in a soft spot. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, even if Flacco plays, I mean, he's not going to have Pittman. I'm not really sure what the status of Downs is, but then that leaves him with, A.D. Mitchell and Alec Pierce, and Alec Pierce has been a pick your spot guy. He's been getting 3 catches a game, and then he always just seems to catch that 60-yard bomb. But that doesn't become as easy when you don't have guys like Pittman and Downs, taking away so much attention for you. So if he doesn't have that, and all of a sudden there's a little more attention, he can't just slip away. It does become a little more difficult for things like that. And A.D. Mitchell, he's just not really been too big of a factor yet in his rookie season. So, I mean, regardless of who plays, I just think that's going to be tough for them to get anything going in the passing game. And I do think that the Titans defense is really good.
Yep.
Yeah, just feels like a bad spot for the Colts. They're a team that I think needed an early bye. Titans are the one that got it. So I like the spot a lot. Division matchup, always tough. So like the Titans at home.
All right.
So we're doing a wheel to decide which primetime game, and then
yeah.
All right.
I feel like that's fair. We got Buffalo after last week. Okay, let me
I had a feeling we were gonna get that game.
Yeah. It's 2.5.
Yes.
2.5. Jets at home.
All right, Tristan, lead it off.
All right. I'm taking the Jets plus 2.5. I think on the surface it screams Bills cover, but yeah, with Jets just fired the coach. They took play calling duties away from Hackett. You got a 40-year-old QB who hasn't looked good. You got a running back who hasn't looked good. They just flew back from London after losing to Minnesota. But a few things when I really started to kind of look into this, because it was like my immediate reaction was you got to go Bills. And then I'm like, well, hold on a minute. Let's really look into this and just kind of see what's going on. And, I think obviously change was necessary. Like something had to change. A team with that talent, with a quarterback like Rodgers, regardless of the fact that he's 40 years old, for that offense to be going in that direction is just something's not right. So, I do think there's an element of anytime there's a big change like this, can that give a team a short-term lift? The Bills are on the third game of a 3-game road trip, and they have lost 2 straight. They've lost both games on this road trip. The last 2 years, the Bills and Jets, they've gone 2-2. Allen has played considerably better at home, but he's lost both games in New York, in the Meadowlands, which is where this game is. The Bills injury report is concerning. Shakir, Cook, defensive tackle, Ed Oliver, non-participants for the second day in a row. That offense is already thin. It's struggling to produce the last 2 games. So I'm going to roll the dice here with a reinvigorated Jets team against a Bills team that's lost 2 straight on the road, have lost a few key players, and they've got to play on the road yet again. So I like the Jets getting the points.
Yep.
Do we spin?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's spin.
Make sure I got the right wheel. Okay. It's tight. It's tight.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. I'm happy it went that way because I think I know where Zach might be going with this pick. And if I'm correct, then I'm at least happy I could get my voice in there. I like the Bills minus 2.5 here. I just think that their slide needs to end. I think that they are a better team than that. Shakir and Cook were back at practice. They weren't really doing team drills. I think they were doing mostly individual stuff. But they were there. They were running around. So I do feel like they're going to be able to get up, especially for Monday night. They have an extra day to rest and prepare and everything. I just feel like the move, I understand the interim bump and everything like that. But, I do think I forget. I thought I had a stat last week, something about returning from London. I don't think it's great. The team that's returning from London with no rest. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite remember. But I just feel like they made a lateral move here. The defense was not the problem. They had a defensive-minded head coach. It sounded like, and I don't know if it's been disproven, but it sounded like Saleh wanted to take the play calling duties away from Hackett, and then he got fired. So like they ended up just doing it anyways.
Hmm.
But I just feel like firing a defensive-minded head coach, whether you think he was good or bad, just to bring in his defensive coordinator as the interim, I just don't really see what type of change that makes. I don't think that that's something. I don't think this is something that Rodgers is necessarily pumped about because his boy is still the one that got demoted. And I'm familiar with Todd Downing. He's pretty bad. He was the offensive coordinator for the Titans. Well, I guess last year. I think he got fired mid-year, but he was the offensive coordinator for the last 2 or 3 years in Tennessee, and that offense was dreadful, especially with the passing game. So I just don't really see where the Jets are actually getting a boost from this move. I think that the issue is really with one, Aaron Rodgers isn't great. And then two, like I still don't think that they have like a good play caller moving into that role. I think that they just brought in a guy who's equally as bad, if not worse. And even if they're equals, I think it's a worse situation because Hackett, Rodgers' boy, just got demoted. So yeah, I just feel like the Jets, they're kind of skidding here. I don't think that they're going to be a team that goes on a miracle run and they make the playoffs with the interim coach. I think this is the beginning of the end for their season. I think it's one of those where they need to start looking ahead to 2025. Do they want Rodgers back? Does Rodgers want to continue playing? Does he feel like he still has it? But yeah, I feel like this is really we're going to look back and be like, yeah, that London trip, that was probably the beginning of the end for their season. So I'm taking the Bills to get back on the train here.
Will,
You want you want the wheel
give me
roll?
a little, give me a little bit, give me a little bit of Will.
Give the man some wheel. Give him.
Christ, I'm a simple man.
Uh,
All right. So I think Tristan kind of on the opposite end of what you were saying. Initially, when you looked at the line, the Bills were the obvious team for you, and you kind of took a step back, viewed it through a different lens. I had the opposite. I looked at the line. I love the Jets. I just called McDermott a terrorist at the start of the show. He is a terrorist. But somehow I think the Jets are in a more peculiar situation than the Bills, even with the Bills kind of looking a little fraudulent on defense and offense the past few weeks, respectfully. Last week with the Texans kind of shutting Josh Allen out. He went 9 for 30 without Shakir passing the ball. And the week prior, Lamar Jackson was ripping them. So everything in my brain was saying Brees Hall is going to find his way. I'm sure a new offensive coordinator is going to come in that are going to try to run the ball, establish some sort of rhythm on that end, because that's been really the glaring hole for the Jets. To me, at least the past 3 weeks has just been they have not been able to get anything going on the ground. So I think that's what the Jets will try to do. I also just for Kieran knows, but I just traded Josh Allen in my dynasty league, the main dynasty league, Friends Who Gamble. I'm playing him this week. Actually, I'm playing Simcoe, who has Josh Allen. I am just had Gino and Ayuk go, and they kind of stunk it up for me. I'm predicting that Josh Allen puts up like 35 points and beats me on Monday night, because that'd be a very me thing to do. So the pick is the Bills 2.5. Just for all the reasons I just stated, I think I'm fading my own brain a bit, looking at just the dynasty football logistics of it all. I think it just all is pointing towards a big Bills resurgence, big Josh Allen night. The Jets are a dumpster fire, and Aaron Rodgers retires mid-season.
all right. So we're on the Bills. So we got, just to recap here, we got the Jags +2. That's the 40 foreign correspondent pick for the London game. Commanders +6.5. That's my pick. We got Kiernan on the Titans -2.5. We got Bowen on the Lions -3. And then we are on the Bills -2.5 for Monday night. Kiernan and Bowen representing there. Those are the picks.
All right.
Let's have another winning week.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Let's stack them.
Let's get it.
What is what is our record? 8.
All right. Overall,
9?
we are 9-16.
9-16. Meh. Okay.
So
One big week.
Kiernan's leading on the individuals. He's 4-1. I'm 2-3. Bowen, whatever happened there. 40-1. And then in terms of overall, including the prime times, Kiernan and I are tied at 7-7. Bowen's 5-9. Yeah.
If the trend does continue, very soon we might have to pull up a magic number for me to clinch not having to go to Vegas.
I mean, yeah,
that is true.
If we get a few more weeks of this, then all of a sudden I could be looking at a week 10 clinch.
Let's hope for the good of the team that doesn't happen. Let's hope you don't clinch too early.
That's true, because you only got to do that with one guy.
That's the thing. It's like when it's only one pick a week. I mean, if you're doing well enough and somebody's doing that bad that by like week 10, 11, 12, you could be looking at some safety. So
yeah.
We'll see. But I mean, I don't know. I think this is the week where things start to change. I mean, how long is it going to go? Right? We're just talking about it. He's making all the right picks. When he's making 5 picks
elsewhere.
Elsewhere. No, for sure.
But there also was like a little bit of a domino effect with bringing 40 on, because if we didn't have 40, then we would have picked the 2 primetime games, right? Tristan, I know you and I were both on the Chiefs. I don't know what side Zach would have been on, but it wouldn't have mattered. We already had 2 there. So that would have been a win right there. That would have swapped it right there. We could have gone 4-1, right? And then if Zach went before me on the wheel, and he would have picked the Jags, I would have slid down to my next one. I would have had the Broncos. That would have been a 4-1 week right there too.
Bro, the wheel's a bitch, bro. The wheel is an absolute bitch.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, we were that close twice to a 4-1 week. So I mean, that's just how it goes. But and Bowen would have had a win on the board. But it's hey, we chose the wheel.
Yep.
The wheel chose us, brother. The wheel chose us.
True.
All right. Let's get it. I'll put the picks. Thank you, guys.
Later. Night.
We'll see you.